I haven't seen it. You know, I haven't seen my community center be refurnished, or maybe the public schools around my neighborhood being refurnished and different things like that. And in that sense, I can understand what people in our community say, you know, where's the money? You know, I don't see the money. But when you're looking at your household and you're looking at what you're supposed to be doing as an individual, people shouldn't be saying, all right, the money's not trickling down to me, because me as an individual, I should be doing what I got to do myself. I shouldn't have to, you know, I look at it as this way. When did the bank become my mother? Or when did the government become my mother? When did these people who are putting this money out there into the economy, when did they become the people who do what I have to do for myself? I got up this morning, I brushed my teeth, I went to school, I went to work. You know, I made those decisions for myself, so I'm not necessarily worried about that money. Now, I really don't see it coming into our communities, though. I don't see it going into these different community centers or the schools. But, I mean, what can you do about it at the end of the day? Either you can sit there and whine, or you can go ahead and, you know, do something regardless of the situation. You can't be a victim of circumstances or a victim of a crooked government.
Now, Claressa, what do you think about the fact that one of the president's promises, or his hopes, was to make sure that more money was going to CUNY schools, and people were getting grants. Education is a key, as we've mentioned, and the president has mentioned that in a lot of speeches. In addition to one of the more recent speeches, the NAA speech, and the NAACP speech, where he mentioned that you need education to give you the advantage to be successful in life. So what do you think about the fact that we do need some of that money to be trickling in to provide us in an education? I mean, we haven't gotten into education reform, but that's going to be a whole new problem. But what do you think about that topic?
I definitely believe that we do need some of that money, especially for education. But one of the situations that I've been in, with doing like my financial aid for school and stuff like that, most of that is government money. But at the same time, I was faced with the fact that I wanted to go to school out of state. It was a lot more money that I can afford, and it was a lot more money. It was the government was giving me a little bit of money versus the amount of money that I needed to spend for college. In that perspective, I don't want to depend on what the government gives me. Of course, we need that money to trickle down, but at the end of the day, we can't sit down and wait for it and depend on it. From the perspective of school, there are so many scholarships out there that I can get, rather than waiting for, okay, I want more money for FAFSA. Let me call HESC and let me fight the fact that I want more money. You can't sit here and depend on what the government's supposed to give you, or you want more. You have to fight for yourself. And what I did, I went on, there's a website called FastWeb, and I wrote up for a lot of scholarships, and you get scholarships back, and that's the way you get money. If you sit down, and if college students or people in general, when it comes to the government providing money or the TARP funds trickling down to our community, if it's not happening, we can't sit down and wait for it. Yes, we can speak up about it, but what are we doing as a people to do what we need to do to help one another and ourselves? A lot of people depend on the money from the government, and that's something, I know there's a huge gap between, the older folks and my generation in that perspective, in that idea or that fact of, depending on the government, or the government's supposed to give us more money. But for my generation, we are learning how to be a lot more independent. And I think that as a people, we all need to get that mentality where we become more independent and stop waiting for the government to give us things. And I'm against, just waiting and sitting around and waiting for the money. And
I'm sure the internet has helped a lot in your generation in terms of finding out
Exactly.
information. But how did you even find out about the website? Was it word of mouth, or was
No,
it?
It was school.
The school actually told you about
the high school that I attended, Benjamin Banneker Academy, they gave us resources. A lot of people say, oh, well, we don't have resources. Look for them. They're out there. There's so many scholarships that I've found that are out there. A lot of people say that it's not there, but it's a matter of you getting up and looking for it. If it's not there, create it.
And that goes back to the fact that millions of scholarships go unclaimed.
Unused.
Yes.
People complain about the HESC and the government not giving us enough money, but what about all the scholarships that are unused?
And we're talking about the deficit, the present deficit that we have. I think they've amounted it to about $38,000 per person, and growing because of the additional programs and the situations that we're in now. But that is a concern, because as you get out of college, you want to find a job so that you can pay back those student loans and be able to contribute to, the economy. so that we can help uplift our present situation.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
they-
as far as everything that Claressa was saying, it's true. Like, you got to go out there and you got to get. But the thing is, me as a young man, I can honestly say that before I started learning about financial literacy and, you know, Ryan Mack, before he became my mentor, I was ignorant to a lot of things, and not ignorant in the sense of being stupid, but ignorant in the sense of not knowing, you know, and he helped shed a little light. We need a lot more mentors. We need a lot more guys like him who are willing to go out there and actually play a role in our lives and show us the light and show us the way, because it's hard for anyone, whether you're black, white, Chinese, Arabic, Jewish, it doesn't really matter. It's hard for a person to go out there and try to do something if they don't know or they don't see, you know. I never knew what a stock or a bond was at the age of 17. I'm an accounting major right now. I never even knew there was such thing as an accountant as a young brother from the hood. Now that's ridiculous. That's a shame, you know, and I take it upon myself to teach brothers there is a such thing as an accountant. You can be in investment banking and different things like that. So I want to, you know, show other people different sides of life, because you can't explore or go look for something that you don't know is there.